Most men wait for crowns that never come. They beg for recognition, they hope for permission, and in the process, they chain themselves. Today, I will show you why waiting is weakness, and why the only throne worth sitting on is the one you seize by your own will. The world is not kind. It does not hand out power to the patient or the virtuous. Thrones are not inherited by the timid. They are taken by those ruthless enough to claim them. To seize your own throne is not a matter of ambition, but survival. Those who hesitate become subjects, while those who act become sovereigns. In this lesson, we strip away illusions and look at power as it is: cold, brutal, and unforgiving. If you wish to rule yourself, and perhaps others, you must understand that crowns are forged in the fire of decisiveness, not gifted by fortune. Most men live as though they are waiting for an unseen hand to grant them permission. Permission to act, permission to speak, permission to rise. But who, exactly, do you think will grant it? Your parents, your society, the so-called leaders of this age. Understand this: no one is coming. History does not remember those who waited. It remembers those who seized. Consider the Roman general Julius Caesar. He was ordered to disband his army and return to Rome as a private citizen. To obey would have meant the end of his ambition. But Caesar did not wait for permission. He crossed the Rubicon, declaring war on the Senate itself. That single act reshaped the destiny of Rome. Now ask yourself, would you have crossed? Or would you have obeyed, hoping fortune would someday reward your loyalty? The harsh truth is that loyalty without power is servitude, and permission is the leash that keeps men tame. Psychology confirms what history shows. Most people are trained from childhood to obey. In school, you wait for the teacher to call on you. At work, you wait for the manager's approval. Even in personal life, you hesitate, afraid of offending or overstepping. This conditioning builds chains inside the mind. You carry them into adulthood, invisible but unbreakable, unless you dare to cut them yourself. But here lies the paradox. The world secretly despises those who beg for approval. People may smile at your obedience, but in their hearts they do not respect you. Respect flows to the one who takes, not the one who waits. Think of Alexander the Great. He inherited a throne, yes, but what made him great was not inheritance. It was audacity. At 20, he declared himself divine, a son of Zeus. Did anyone give him permission to claim such a title? No. Yet millions believed him, because he imposed the belief first upon himself, then upon the world. This is the law of power. Reality bends to decisive will. And still, you hesitate. You tell yourself, I will act when I am ready. I will seize when the moment is right. But do you not see? Readiness is a lie. The moment never arrives. The world belongs to those who act in spite of uncertainty, who leap before the bridge has been built. In politics, in business, in relationships, it is always the same. Those who act define the terms. Those who wait become defined by others. Let me give you a more modern example. In corporate hierarchies, the man who waits patiently for recognition is the man passed over for promotion. Why? Because superiors see patience as weakness. Meanwhile, the one who positions himself boldly, who assumes authority before it is given, appears to be the natural leader. Even if his skills are equal or inferior, the illusion of power compels others to follow. You might call this arrogance. I call it necessity. Here is the principle: power is not handed down, it is projected upward. The throne is not gifted, it is claimed. But how does one begin to act without permission? Start with small rebellions. Speak when silence is expected. Make decisions without waiting for consensus. Set boundaries others did not authorize. Each act, no matter how small, breaks the conditioning that chains you. Each act tells your psyche, I am the one who decides. And with time, something remarkable happens. People stop questioning your authority. They start accepting it, not because they were convinced by arguments, but because they sense your refusal to ask. Humans are wired to follow certainty, and certainty belongs to those who never seek approval. Think carefully, when was the last time you gave yourself permission? Not from a boss, not from a family member, not from a lover, but from yourself. If you struggle to answer, then you are already living under someone else's throne. This is why I call it a myth. Permission does not exist outside of your own mind. It is a phantom, a trick you play on yourself to justify fear. You may think waiting keeps you safe, but in truth, it erodes your strength. Every moment spent waiting is a moment your rivals use to act. And when they do, you will realize the throne you dreamed of has already been taken. So I ask you now, will you continue waiting, chained by invisible shackles, or will you seize the right to act, even if it means defying the order that binds you? Because here is the coldest truth of all. Only those who act without permission ever sit upon a throne. And once you have learned this, the next question becomes even darker. If you dominate yourself, can you then dominate others? Every man dreams of ruling others. Few ever consider the harder task, ruling themselves. You believe power is found in commanding armies, controlling wealth, or bending others to your will. But what use is a crown on the head of a man enslaved by his own impulses? What empire can stand when its ruler cannot govern his fears, his desires, or his temper? Self-domination is the first throne. Fail to sit upon it, and every other throne will be taken from you. Look at Alexander the Great, conqueror of nations, master of empires. Yet what destroyed him? Not enemies, not rivals, but his own excess. His inability to master his thirst for wine and glory burned his life out before he reached 33. He ruled half the known world, but he could not rule himself. And so his empire fractured the moment he died. History is filled with such men, outwardly powerful, inwardly weak. Kings, generals, and emperors who lost everything because they could not command the small kingdom within. The kingdom of the self. Now ask yourself, are you so different? Do you believe you can lead others while enslaved to distraction, laziness, or anger? Can you expect loyalty when you betray yourself daily with weakness? The psychologist will tell you that most human behavior is governed by impulse, not reason. The limbic brain, the seat of desire and fear, tugs at you endlessly. You think you are in control, yet how often do you obey without question? You reach for the phone, the drink, the easy pleasure, not because you decide, but because you are compelled. You are ruled, not ruling. A prince who cannot master this is no prince at all. He is a puppet, strings pulled by appetite and emotion. And what puppet ever deserved a throne? Consider the Stoics of Rome. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, wrote not of conquering others, but of conquering himself. Each day he reminded himself that anger, pride, and lust are enemies more dangerous than any barbarian at the gate. His empire endured not only because of legions, but because their ruler had first subdued the chaos within. This is your first battlefield. You may not command an army, but you command yourself, or fail to. The question is who sits on the throne of your mind? You, or the voices of craving and fear? Modern life is designed to keep you weak. Every notification, every temptation, every indulgence is a soldier fighting against your sovereignty. To master yourself today is perhaps harder than ever before. But that makes it more valuable. The man who controls his attention cannot be manipulated. The man who commands his emotions cannot be baited. The man who governs his desires cannot be bought. Such a man is dangerous because he is free. Do not misunderstand. Self-domination is not denial. It is not the saint's rejection of all pleasure. It is the ruler's discipline, deciding what serves him and what enslaves him. The cup of wine, the coin of gold, the embrace of love, all may be enjoyed, but never worshipped. The master enjoys, the slave obeys. So ask yourself, when anger rises in you, do you rule it, or does it rule you? When desire tempts you, do you command it, or does it command you? These are not small questions. They are the questions that decide whether you are a sovereign or a servant. Even in manipulation, this law holds true. If you cannot manipulate yourself, how will you manipulate others? The man who cannot silence his own fear will crumble when facing enemies. The man who cannot delay his own gratification will lose everything in pursuit of quick rewards. The man who cannot restrain his tongue will betray himself before his rivals need to lift a finger. This is why self-mastery is the foundation of all strategy. To dominate yourself is to build an inner fortress no enemy can breach. Without it, your walls collapse from within. But here is the tragedy: most men would rather attempt to rule others than face themselves. They find it easier to fight battles on the field than to conquer the war inside their own mind. And so they remain slaves, even when crowned. Do not fall into this trap. Your throne begins where no one can see inside. Only when you sit firmly upon it can you hope to rule the world outside. And yet, if you succeed, if you master yourself fully, a darker question awaits. How do you then project this inner sovereignty outward, so that others cannot help but recognize your rule? Power is not only held, it is performed. You may imagine strength as brute force, as armies, wealth, or iron will. But power without appearance is invisible, and invisible power is no power at all. The world obeys not reality, but perception. This is why rulers, conquerors, and leaders throughout history have mastered the theater of power. They understood that image bends the minds of men more easily than truth. Consider Louis Xavier France, the Sun King. He built Versailles not merely as a palace, but as a stage. Every gesture, every ritual, every display of wealth was carefully choreographed to remind nobles that their lives orbited around him. As planets orbit the sun, he did not rely solely on laws or armies. He performed majesty until it became unquestionable reality. Now ask yourself, how much of your own life is theater? How much of what you respect, fear, or follow is not substance, but spectacle? Psychology tells us that humans are creatures of symbols. We respond more to the appearance of authority than to its actual depth. A man in uniform commands obedience even if he has no true power. A confident voice sways a crowd more than facts ever could. We are wired to submit to the image of strength, even when strength is absent. So, if you wish to command, you must learn this art. The throne is not just taken, it is staged. But here lies the trap. Many people perform without knowing it, creating images of weakness rather than power. Their posture, their speech, their hesitation all betray subservience. They play the role of the servant, and the world obliges them by treating them as one. Are you guilty of this? Do you apologize too often, shrink in presence, lower your eyes in submission? Each gesture tells a story, and the story you tell is the one people will believe. Think of Caesar returning to Rome after his victories. He did not walk humbly through the gates. He paraded his spoils, his soldiers, his captives in chains. He made the people see victory with their eyes before they felt it in their hearts. It was theater, and it worked. Even religion understands this principle. The grand cathedrals, the robes, the incense, the ceremonies, all serve as performance. Whether the divine exists or not is irrelevant, the image of divine authority captures the minds of millions. Do you see the pattern? Reality matters less than perception, and perception can be shaped. In modern life, the theater of power is everywhere. A politician carefully staged under lights, surrounded by flags. A CEO entering the room last, so others must rise for him. A man in a relationship who withdraws affection, forcing his partner to chase it. These are performances, not accidents. They are deliberate manipulations of psychology. And yet, most people stumble through life unaware that they are on stage. They let others write the script, cast them in minor roles, and laugh when they wonder why no one takes them seriously. You must seize control of your theater. Ask yourself, how do others see me? What story does my presence tell before I even open my mouth? Do I project inevitability, or do I project hesitation? Understand this. People believe what they see repeated. If you act as though you belong on a throne, long enough, consistently enough, they will believe it, even if you began with nothing. The performance becomes reality. But here is where discipline is required. The theater of power is not mere arrogance or empty boasting. It is deliberate, calculated, and relentless. The wrong performance can destroy you. A ruler who appears weak in crisis invites rebellion. A man who appears desperate in love guarantees rejection. The play must be convincing, or it collapses into farce. Think of it like a mask. The mask is not false. It is chosen. The actor may feel fear beneath it, but the audience never sees it. And in time, even the actor begins to believe. So I ask you, what mask do you wear? Do you choose it? Or do you let circumstance paint it upon your face? Those who dominate perception dominate people. Those who fail become mere background characters in the dramas of others. If you are wise, you will not just live. You will stage your life. You will learn to walk, speak, and act as though sovereignty drips from your very presence. Because once others see you as inevitable, they will surrender without knowing why. And yet, there is something even sharper, something more dangerous. Once you project sovereignty, how do you maintain it through fear, respect, and the careful balance between the two? Every ruler faces the same dilemma. Is it better to be loved or feared? The knave cling to love, believing affection secures loyalty. But love is fickle, fragile, and conditional. Fear, by contrast, is steady. It commands obedience even when affection fades. Yet the question is not so simple. Too much fear breeds hatred, and hatred breeds rebellion. Too much love breeds weakness, and weakness breeds contempt. The true art lies in calculation, knowing when to invoke fear, when to cultivate respect, and how to wield both as instruments of rule. Consider Genghis Khan. To his enemies, he was terror incarnate. Cities that resisted were obliterated, their people slaughtered as warnings carved into history. Fear spread faster than his armies. Many surrendered before a single arrow was loosed. Yet within his ranks, discipline and reward ensured loyalty. He balanced dread with respect. His empire endured because he understood the mathematics of emotion. Now look closer at your own life. You are not leading armies, perhaps, but you are leading in smaller theaters. Your relationships, your career, your social circles. Ask yourself, do people obey you because they respect you, or because they fear crossing you? Or worse, do they neither respect nor fear you? That is the position of the powerless. Psychology tells us fear activates the primal brain. It short-circuits thought, compelling obedience. Respect, on the other hand, activates admiration and trust. Together, they create a bond difficult to break. Alone, each has flaws. Fear without respect is tyranny that invites revolt. Respect without fear is affection that can evaporate the moment it is inconvenient. Have you noticed how skilled manipulators use this balance? A boss who praises your work just enough to keep you loyal, but scolds with precision to keep you anxious. A partner who offers affection yet withdraws it when you defy them. This is not random. It is calculation, measured doses of fear and respect to maintain control. History offers another example. Augustus, Rome's first emperor. He inherited the chaos of Caesar's assassination, a world drenched in civil war. How did he secure lasting rule? He cloaked himself in the respectability of restoring the republic, while quietly holding absolute power. He punished rivals swiftly when needed, but to the people, he performed the role of savior. Respect concealed his power, fear protected it. His reign lasted decades, and Rome flourished. You may think these are lessons only for emperors. You are mistaken. The same laws govern even the smallest hierarchy. In a workplace, if you are only liked, colleagues will exploit you. If you are only feared, they will sabotage you. But if you are respected and feared, they will obey, quietly, consistently. The calculation requires honesty. Look inward. Which are you cultivating now? Do others respect you because of your competence, your discipline, your mastery of yourself, or do they simply like you because you are agreeable, safe, predictable? And do they ever hesitate before crossing you? If not, you hold no real power. Fear is not cruelty for its own sake. It is the boundary that cannot be crossed. Respect is not flattery. It is the acknowledgement of strength. Together, they form the pillars of authority. But beware, if you must choose, fear is safer than love. For men betray affection easily when it suits them. They betray less often when they know the cost of betrayal will be severe. This is why discipline matters. If you declare consequences, they must be enforced. Empty threats erode fear, and without fear, respect alone collapses. You must be consistent, predictable in punishment, unwavering in principle. Men respect decisiveness, even when they resent it. Ask yourself, when others think of you, do they feel comfort or caution? Comfort invites exploitation, caution invites obedience. The cruelest irony is this: even those who claim to despise fear secretly respect it. They resent the tyrant, but they never forget his power. Love fades. Fear leaves scars in memory. And so, you must learn the calculus. In every encounter, weigh the costs. How much fear is necessary to maintain boundaries? How much respect must be cultivated to sustain loyalty? The balance shifts with context, but the principle never changes. Master this, and you will never wonder why others disobey. Fail, and you will be overthrown, not by enemies, but by those who once swore loyalty. So, I leave you with a question. Once you learn to wield fear and respect with precision, will you have the courage to strip away morality and seize what is yours without guilt? Most men are trapped not by their enemies, but by their conscience. They hesitate. They weigh morality. They wonder if they are being fair. And in that hesitation, opportunity dies. The throne passes to another, one less troubled by guilt. If you wish to seize power, you must abandon the illusion that morality protects you. It does not. Morality is a weapon designed by the strong to restrain the weak. Those who cling to it are devoured by those who see through it. History makes this truth plain. When Hernan Cortes landed in the New World, he faced empires larger and richer than his small force could ever hope to conquer. Yet he did not wait for permission. He did not wonder whether conquest was just. He burned his ships, cutting off retreat, and seized what he desired. Within 2 years, the mighty Aztec Empire was dust. Was it moral? No. Was it effective? Entirely. Now ask yourself, if he had waited for approval, if he had agonized over guilt, would he have been remembered at all? Or would his name have dissolved into history like so many cautious men before him? Psychology confirms what history reveals. Guilt is a paralyzing emotion. It drains energy, clouds judgment, and forces you to justify inaction. Worse, it is often misplaced. Felt not because you have done wrong, but because others have conditioned you to believe you should feel wrong. This is the great trap of society, teaching men to feel guilt for desiring power, while quietly rewarding those who take it without apology. You see it every day. The employee who hesitates to claim credit is forgotten, while the one who confidently seizes recognition advances. The man who feels guilty about setting boundaries in relationships is drained, while the one who asserts himself is respected. Guilt keeps you obedient. The absence of guilt makes you formidable. Do not mistake me. To be ruthless does not mean to be reckless. It means understanding necessity and acting without hesitation. When survival or advancement is at stake, guilt has no place at the table. You must learn to silence it. Consider Cesar Borgia. His rise was not gentle. He crushed rivals, betrayed allies, and used terror as an instrument of order. The weak called him cruel. Yet his cruelty built stability in a land fractured by chaos. He seized without guilt, because he understood that power itself justifies action. Had he hesitated, he would have been destroyed. Ask yourself, what throne in your life have you failed to claim because guilt held you back? Did you remain silent when you should have spoken? Did you stay loyal to someone who would never return it? Did you decline an opportunity because you feared being called selfish? That hesitation was the moment your throne was stolen. The truth is harsh, but clear: the world rewards the one who acts, not the one who hesitates. And to act decisively, you must strip away the chains of unnecessary conscience. Now, some will protest, but without guilt, will I not become a monster? To that I say, monsters rule while saints serve. Yet the wise ruler understands appearances. You do not parade your lack of guilt. You conceal it behind a mask of virtue. Let others believe you are kind, just, and merciful, while you act with cold precision beneath the mask. This is the final mastery, not only seizing without guilt, but disguising the ruthlessness that drives you. You may strike with the hand of necessity, yet cloak it in the language of justice. Others will praise you for virtues you do not possess, while fearing the strength they cannot name. So I ask you, what would your life look like if you acted without guilt? If you seized opportunities the moment they appeared? If you stopped apologizing for your ambition, your hunger, your desire for sovereignty? The throne is not for the hesitant. It is for the one who sees, decides, and takes without apology. And yet, beyond seizing, there remains the darker question. Once you hold power, how do you keep it against rivals who would use the same merciless tactics against you? Power works best when unseen. The sharpest chains are those people never realize they wear. If they believe they are acting freely, they will obey more faithfully than if forced. That is the essence of control. Guiding without appearing to guide, ruling without raising suspicion. The weak demand recognition for their authority. The strong make authority invisible, yet absolute. Which one will you be? Ask yourself, are you shaping the stage of your life, or are you merely playing a role written by someone else? Do others follow you because they must, or because they think it was their choice all along? That is the highest form of power. Domination concealed beneath the illusion of freedom. If you found value in these strategies, leave your thoughts below. Show me how you would apply them. Subscribe for more lessons in power, psychology, and control. And share this with those clever enough to understand, but not with the ones you intend to rule.